The Justice League isn't the first team of superheroes to emerge in the DC Comics universe, but it's undoubtedly the most famous. The original JLA was conceived in 1960. It was written by Gardner Fox and debuted in The Brave and the Bold number 28. That comic united 7 pre-existing heroes: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter as they joined forces to battle the enormous alien villain known as Starro. That original team lineup has become affectionately referred to by fans as the Big Seven. The exact origin story of the Justice League has changed quite a bit over the years, but for the most part, that founding lineup has remained the same. The Justice League quickly expanded into its own series from the pages of The Brave and the Bold. The team roster remained surprisingly consistent for the next several decades, especially compared to Marvel teams like the Avengers and the X-Men. But new recruits began rolling in to swell the ranks. Green Arrow became the first new member early on in 1961. He was eventually followed by the Atom in 1962, Hawkman in 1964, and Black Canary in 1969. More new recruits appeared during the 1970s, a period now referred to as the Satellite Era, a name it earned because the League set up shop in their new space station headquarters. The League eventually welcomed heroes like Phantom Stranger, Elongated Man, Red Tornado, Hawkgirl, Zatanna, and Firestorm. By this point, pretty much every major adult hero in the DC universe was a member of the League, resulting in one of the largest and most versatile groups in the team's history. DC didn't make any significant overhauls to the Justice League lineup until 1984, a time when the series began to wane in popularity in favor of titles like New Teen Titans and Uncanny X-Men. Writer Jerry Conway and artist Chuck Patton introduced a dramatically different League that included a mix of old favorites and new, more diverse recruits like Steel, Vixen, Vibe, and Gypsy. This revamped team became unofficially known as Justice League Detroit, a name it got thanks to their relocated headquarters. The Justice League evolved even more radically in the late 1980s, as writers Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis and artist Kevin Maguire made their mark on the franchise with Justice League International. In this series, billionaire Maxwell Lord sponsored a new team of heroes pulled from all corners of the globe. Fans still refer to this as the Bwahaha era because of the heavier emphasis on humor and slapstick comedy. While a few old favorites like Batman and Martian Manhunter stuck around, the JLI focused mainly on newer, quirkier heroes like tech genius Blue Beetle, time traveler Booster Gold, the surly Green Lantern Guy Gardner, military man Captain Atom, Brazilian heroine Fire, Icelandic heroine Ice, and the fan favorite husband and wife duo, Elongated Man and Sue Dibney. The Justice League began to evolve more and more rapidly during this time, with new members leaving and joining the team ever more frequently. The team even spawned its first offshoot in the form of Justice League Europe, a group that included Animal Man, Power Girl, Metamorpho, Crimson Fox, and even new gods like Light Ray and Orion. Most significantly, this series marked the Justice League debut of the Wally West version of Flash, the former hero known as Kid Flash, who took up the mantle after Barry Allen died in 1985's Crisis on Infinite Earths. Crisis was a major reboot intended to make sense of decades of confusing continuity issues, leading, among many other changes, to a new version of the Justice League's origin story in 1988. Which changed history so that Black Canary became a founding member in place of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. This era also saw the debut of a very short-lived team called Justice League Antarctica. Led by the villain Major Disaster, this team was tasked with defending their icy home and basically staying out of the real Justice League's way. The Justice League franchise changed again in the early 90s. Like many superhero comics of the time, it shifted away from humor and towards darker storylines with more extreme artwork. DC published several concurrent Justice League comics during this period, including the core Justice League America title and spin-offs like Justice League Task Force and Extreme Justice. These books brought back more classic Justice League members while also introducing recruits like Obsidian, Nuklon, Triumph, Blue Devil, and the modern-age version of Hawkman. Thanks to concepts like reincarnation and past lives, Hawkman's origin story began to get really complicated around this time. Extreme Justice even inducted Wonder Twins Zan and Jaina into DC's comic book universe. The comic book industry as a whole went through a major rough patch in the mid-90s, and Justice League wasn't immune to those effects. DC eventually canceled Justice League America in 1996 and relaunched the series as JLA. It was written by Grant Morrison with art by Howard Porter. Morrison and Porter brought back the team to its roots by focusing on the original Big Seven again, although most of these characters had changed a great deal in the almost 4 decades since the Justice League first debuted. This is where Green Lantern Kyle Rayner first joined the team, and he, like Wally West, found himself trying to carry on the legacy of another hero. While JLA focused mainly on the original members, it wasn't long before Morrison began filling out the ranks of his team with an eclectic cast of iconic favorites and obscure heroes. Batman's partners, Nightwing and Oracle, both made their debuts on the team during this period, as did Superman's newfound ally, Steel. Other new League members included Aztec, the Connor Hawk Green Arrow, Plastic Man, Zariel, Big Barda, Hourman, and Jade. Wonder Woman's mother, Hippolyta, even briefly filled in for her daughter. This may seem strange to fans of the animated series, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, but it wasn't until 2003's JLA number 76 that Green Lantern John Stewart was officially made a League member. The Justice League spawned another short-lived offshoot team in 2004's Justice League Elite, led by Vera Lynn Black, the sister of Superman villain Manchester Black. This team sought to become a more proactive counterpart to the main league. The Justice League underwent its next big evolution in 2006 in the aftermath of a story called Infinite Crisis, which served as a sort of sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths and caused more big changes to the DC timeline. Following a year-long hiatus in the books, the Justice League reformed with a fairly traditional roster that included most of the Big Seven and other favorites from the team's satellite era. However, the League added several new recruits in this period, including Black Lightning, Green Arrow's former sidekick Red Arrow, and Geoforce. Writer James Robinson introduced another Justice League offshoot in the 2009 miniseries Cry for Justice. In it, Green Arrow and Green Lantern formed a more aggressive team similar to the one seen in Justice League Elite, and recruited heroes like Supergirl, Starman, and Congorilla. Shortly after, the main Justice League added Guardian and Superman's friend Mon-El to its ranks. Also, speedster heroine Jessie Quick joined 3 former Teen Titans, Starfire, Donna Troy, and Cyborg. Finally, DC also briefly revived the fan-favorite Justice League International team during this period in a year-long series called Justice League Generation Lost. Generation Lost added both the new Jamie Reyes Blue Beetle and a new version of Rocket Red to that classic lineup. The DC Comics universe underwent a major shift in 2011 thanks to the New 52 reboot, which saw DC streamline its superhero continuity and tell yet another new version of the Justice League's origin. The New 52 restored the classic Big Seven lineup with one major exception, as Cyborg replaced Martian Manhunter as a founding member. That change aside, the main Justice League team didn't actually gain any completely new members for several years. However, the New 52 did introduce several new Justice League offshoots. The series Justice League Dark featured a group of supernatural heroes that included Madame Xanadu, Zatanna, John Constantine, Deadman, Shade the Changing Man, and Swamp Thing. DC also briefly revived the Justice League International at the beginning of the New 52. It added new members like August General and Iron, Batwing, and OMAC to the team. In 2013, Suicide Squad leader Amanda Waller formed her own Justice League of America that introduced characters like Rick Flag and Catwoman to the team. That new group didn't last long, and several X-members went on to form Justice League United, inducting Adam Strange and Equinox into the mix along the way. The core New 52 Justice League finally added its first brand new members in 2013, when Atomica and Element Woman joined the ranks. However, Atomica turned out to be a spy for Earth-3's evil crime syndicate. Ironically, this paved the way for a pair of former Justice League enemies, Lex Luthor and Captain Cold, to join up. As you might have expected, neither character stuck around for very long. In 2016, DC followed up the New 52 with another relaunch called DC Rebirth. Rebirth has so far spawned two main incarnations of the Justice League. The main team features a lot of familiar faces, along with newer recruits like Green Lantern's Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, as well as Aquaman's fiancée, Mera. And while a Justice League of China has also popped up, the other major addition to the mythos involves the Dark Knight himself. Yes, Batman has formed a new Justice League of America and recruited a very unusual team that includes the Ryan Choi Atom, Lobo, and the reformed villain Killer Frost. However, a surprising lack of Robins in there though. And while dozens and dozens of heroes have served as active members of the Justice League over the years, plenty more have served as honorary members. That includes the team's original mascot, Snapper Carr, characters like the elongated man's wife, Sue Dibney, and cosmic heroes like Captain Comet and even the reformed villain, Tattooed Man. Of course, all these Justice League members are just from the main DC universe. DC Comics is home to a vast multiverse with infinite alternate worlds and versions of the Justice League. But to cover them all, we'd also need an infinite amount of time. One thing is certain, however. As the DC universe continues to grow, so too will its greatest superhero team, the Justice League.